So let's get that started. We have, right, our Mataji won't able to join today. And another Prabhuji was supposed to join, so hopefully he will join soon. But we shall resume Shri Īśopaniṣad. And we are on mantra 7. हरे कृष्णा सभी हिंदी भाषी भक्तों का भी स्वागत है। हम श्री ईशोपनिषद कर रहे हैं। श्री ईशोपनिषद जो श्रीला प्रभुपाद जी ने जिनकी व्याख्या करी है, और उसमें हम मंत्र 7 तो 18 मंत्र हैं, उसमें हम 7वें मंत्र पर हैं। तो आज हम 7वां मंत्र शुरू करेंगे। और जैसे हम देखते हैं चैतन्य चरण प्रभु जी, राधे श्याम प्रभु जी, इस्कॉन डिजायर ट्री, जितनी भी हमें व्याख्याएं मिलती हैं, हम उन सब व्याख्याओं को, उन सब पर्पस को कोशिश करते हैं एक साथ डिस्कस कर सकें। हरे कृष्ण। So let's get going. So take the blessings of Srila Prabhupada ji. And then Mangalacharan. Before we shall start, take the mercy of the Lord and the Acharyas. Jnana-timirandasya Jnana-jana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manovishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yudapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sakrijatam Sahadanam Raghunathavitam Tam Sajivam Sadhvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahaganam Lalita Shri Vishakhavitam Sham Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshnaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashat Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gurudev Maharaj ki jai, Jai Jai Shri Radhe Shyam. Hare Krishna, Anil Prabhuji, so good to see you. Hari Hari Bol. I was just saying that we are looking for another Prabhuji to join, and looking at you, Prabhuji, such a great pleasure indeed. Hare Krishna. So I welcome everyone in this Shri Īśopaniṣad session. There are 18 verses, and we have covered 6 of them. So we will do very quick recap, and then we will start mantra 7 today. So सभी हिंदी भाषी भक्तों का भी स्वागत है। जिस तरीके से आप देख सकते हैं कि हम इंग्लिश और हिंदी दोनों में ही कवर करने की कोशिश करते हैं। काफ़ी भक्तों ने यूट्यूब के ऊपर भी कमेंट्स किए कि आप इंग्लिश में ज़्यादा कवर करते हैं, हिंदी में नहीं। तो हमारी कोशिश रहती है कि हम हिंदी में भी कवर करें। हम श्री ईशोपनिषद में जो 18 मंत्र हैं, उसमें 6 मंत्र कर चुके हैं और आज हम 7वां मंत्र शुरू करेंगे। तो हम एक रिकैप करेंगे जो अब तक हमने कवर किया है। श्रील प्रभुपाद जी ने लंदन के अंदर जब श्री ईशोपनिषद की सीरीज करी थी, तो उसमें सबसे पहले मंत्र 1 से पहले उन्होंने ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं इस मंत्र को समझाया था। So that's what we understood in the invocation. So that's considered now in Hare Krishna movement in ISKCON, in Brahma Madhva Gauriya Math, as the invocation mantra for Shri Īśopaniṣad. So whenever we start Shri Īśopaniṣad, we always take Om Purnamada Purnamidam, which is a mantra from Upanishad, as the invocation mantra for Shri Īśopaniṣad. And then the meaning of this mantra is that Krishna is Purn, the Lord is Purn, and we Jivatma, living entities, we coming out of Krishna, all of us are Purn as well. तो कृष्णा पूर्ण है और कृष्णा से हम सभी आत्माएं निकली हैं, हम सब भी पूर्ण हैं। किस रूप में पूर्ण है वो आज हम मंत्र 7 में देखेंगे। मंत्र 1, ईशा वास्य प्रिंसिपल, which says that everything belongs to ईश्वर। मंत्र 1 में हमें ये पता लगता है कि ईशावास्यम प्रिंसिपल को हम कैसे समझ सकते हैं कि सभी चीजें, भौतिक या आध्यात्मिक सभी चीजें किस तरीके से भगवान से ही जुड़ी हैं। फिर नेक्स्ट हम मूव करते हैं मंत्र 2 की तरफ। इन मंत्र 2 we understand that how living in harmony with this ईशावास्यम principle and what are the benefits in it. So if we live in that mental stability that everything belongs to Krishna and we have just borrowed those things, then it's much easier for us to understand, just like the moon borrows the light from sunlight. So there is so moon should never get puffed up that I got these light, which everyone says, especially in Purnima. Oh, look at the light of beautiful moon, so beautiful. But moonshine should always remember that I'm just the reflection of sunshine. I don't have my own. So if this way we remember ourselves, then we will always be humble and we will always live in the principle of ईशावास्य. And this is the mantra 2. मंत्र 2 के अंदर हमें ये पता लगता है कि किस तरीके से हम जो भी चीजें, जो भी स्किल्स हमें भगवान ने दी हैं, जो भी भौतिक अध्याय हमारे पास में हैं, उन सब का जो सोर्स है वो खुद कृष्णा ही है। मंत्र 3 के अंदर अगर हम इस प्रिंसिपल में नहीं जीते तो फिर हमारा कितना नुकसान होता है। डिसहार्मनी, इट सेज that we will have so much disharmony in our life, and this is what we have personally experienced. If you can see a lot of places, the reason all these wars, the battles are happening is because of this, because the countries, the presidents, the people, they all would like to become the proprietor of things. Even in our family, the husband would like to become the proprietor, the wife would like to become the proprietor, the parents would like to become the proprietor, and these days the kids, if you have 2 kids, the kids, they very soon put their proprietorship on the things. This is my toy and I will not let anyone else play it. And that's the source of disharmony. So it's very evident that how this disharmony could harm us. So this is the first part, invocation to mantra 3. So the 4 mantras there, living in harmony with Ishwar will always help us. Then the second segment is where we are currently, from 4 to 8, that Ishwara cannot be understood by spiritual vision. तो हमने देखा जो शुरू के 4 मंत्र हैं, जिसमें पहला इन्वोकेशन मंत्र ओम पूर्णमदा पूर्णमिदम, और फिर 3 मंत्र जो हैं श्री ईशोपनिषद के, ये 4 मंत्र लगकर हमें ये पता लगता है कि ईशावास्य प्रिंसिपल में हमें रहना चाहिए, क्योंकि इसी में हमारा बेनिफिट है। और सेकंड सेगमेंट जो हम देखते हैं श्री ईशोपनिषद की मंत्र 4 से 8, उसके अंदर हमें ये पता लगता है कि किस तरीके से, जैसे भगवत गीता के अंदर जब अर्जुन ने कहा कि भगवान मैं आपका वो स्वरूप देखना चाहता हूँ, यूनिवर्सल फॉर्म देखना चाहता हूँ, तो भगवान ने कहा आप अपनी ये भौतिक नजरों से नहीं देख पाओगे, मैं आपको दिव्य ज्ञान देता हूँ, दिव्य चक्षु देता हूँ. So the Lord said that you will not able to perceive that form of mine. I will give you the spiritual vision. Similarly, the spiritual vision has been explained from mantra 4 to mantra 8. And if you get it further, so mantra 4 to 8 is further subdivided. Mantra 4 to 5, where it says, Ishwar is inconceivable to our normal intelligence. So the way we understood that we have material body, our senses are material. Because our senses are material, we get into illusion. So this is 4 steps. First, our senses are imperfect. Being material, everything in material world is imperfect and it's temporary, is going to go away. So material body has material senses and those senses are imperfect. Due to those imperfect senses, we get into illusion. And the illusion could be because our eyes can't see. We see the mirage in the desert, in sand. When we hear on the telephone, we might misidentify someone else. So because of imperfect senses, we get into illusion. And because of illusion, we make mistakes. And because of those mistakes, we try to cheat others because we try to defend ourselves. We try to cover up our mistakes. So this is 4-fold miseries we have. First, imperfect senses. Second, illusion. Third, we make mistakes. And the fourth one, because of the reason we make mistakes, we start cheating others. We try to cover up our mistakes, right? So the 4-fold misery being understood. So it's inconceivable for us to understand Krishna. From mantra 4 and 5 explains that. So where it says that the Lord, the Absolute, is very near, yet is very far. Does not walk, but also run. So how we could understand that? So those kind of discussions are provided in mantra 4 and 5. Now moving on to mantra 6 and 7. So 6th mantra we have covered, but mantra 7, which is kind of concluding mantra for 6 and 7. So what we have already seen in mantra 6 is going to further expand it in mantra 7, which is that to understand Krishna is spiritual. So to understand spiritual God, we have to develop spiritual vision. And just like Krishna provided that spiritual vision to his disciple Arjun, similarly, the scriptures, the Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, they provide us the spiritual knowledge, spiritual vision, so we can understand a spiritual Lord. Without it, if we just sit in our home and try to read these Shastras, try to read the Vedas, Upanishad, Itihasas, which is Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita, Ramayana, Puranas, Bhagavatam, just our own, it's such a great confusion, which we have discussed in past, and we will discuss a bit today as well. So first, develop a spiritual vision by seeing worldly things, events, and people. So living beings, people, non-living things, and then in between the circumstances we have. Even if it's a COVID, if it's something as bad as COVID, if we can see the cause is the approval has been given by the Lord, then definitely it's for our benefit. Those souls who lost their lives in Mahabharata, there were so many of them. Some says between 60 and 80 million people died in Mahabharata, right? That's somewhere putting both World War I and World War II together, even more than that. And so those were the circumstances, but those circumstances were required because Krishna said, that's the reason I come down, to annihilate the miscreants, right? And to deliver my devotees. That's the reason. So not only the people, when we see people, we will see Krishna. Not only that, we will see human beings, living beings, but we will see non-living things. And those non-living things will remind us of Krishna. But even the events, the circumstances we are in, they will remind us of Krishna as well. Right? So जिस तरीके से हमने देखा मंत्रा 4 एंड मंत्रा 5 के अंदर भगवान ये बताते हैं कि किस तरीके से ईश्वर को समझना बहुत ही मुश्किल है, और हम जिस तरीके से समझ चुके हैं कि जो हमारी इंद्रियां हैं वो ही परफेक्ट नहीं है, पर्याप्त नहीं है, हम उनसे नहीं समझ सकते। और भगवत गीता के अंदर अर्जुन ने साफ साफ जब भगवान कृष्ण को ये कहा कि मैं आपका वो रूप देखना चाहता हूँ, तो भगवान ने कहा मैं अपनी दिव्य दृष्टि आपको दूंगा। तो उसी तरीके से मंत्र 6 के अंदर ये समझाया गया कि वो जो दिव्य दृष्टि भगवान कृष्ण ने अर्जुन को दी थी, वैसी ही दिव्य दृष्टि हमें चाहिए शास्त्रों को समझने के लिए, भगवान को समझने के लिए, ईश्वर को समझने के लिए। और वो दिव्य दृष्टि हमको गुरु, साधु और शास्त्र से मिलती है। सो शास्त्र को समझने के लिए हमें गुरु चाहिए, और गुरु तक पहुंचने के लिए हमको संघ चाहिए। गुरु, साधु, साधु, संघ। साधु इज नॉट जस्ट वन साधु. Sadhu is that association. Sadhu is all those devotees around who inspire us, who motivate us to move forward in our spiritual life. Otherwise, we have seen it how many years. If we don't remember how many lives, we can say that how many years, how many days, how many months, how many hours we have wasted on material things. It could be as simple as cryptocurrency. It could be share market. It could be the war. It could be the IPL semi-final. It could be the FIFA football coming. But at the end of the day, these all are material things. And it's not bad to be aware of them, but we need to remember that these are material things. They were not there before. They will not be there afterwards. But the wisdom given in these Shastras, Shri Īśopaniṣad, they were there relevant for us 5,000 years back, and they are relevant today, and they will be relevant till the end of the material life. Not only ours, but since how long this material world gonna be. Because it says the Brahma we are living with, he's halfway through. This is the 51st year of Brahma. Brahma is going to live for 100 years, and this is the 51st year of Brahma. And the whole Brahmand will go down when Brahma will finish 100 years, and then the next Brahma will be appointed. So we are like in the middle. But of course, that doesn't mean that we're going to go for that long. We don't know how long we're going to go for. So we should better make the good use of it now. So mantra 7. So now what mantra 7 says, it's if we see the wordings, sarvani, so yasmin sarvani bhute, the same words sarvani bhutani, the Sanskrit, the root word of bhutani is the exactly same verse being given in verse 6 as well, if you remember, right? In mantra 6, we have exactly same word. Just this in Sanskrit, well, even in English, sometimes what we have, the root word is the same, but right at the end, the ending changes. And those endings could make it singular, it could make it plural, it could make it present, it could make it past, future. Something similar is happening here. Sarvani bhutani and bhutanye. And that's the only difference we see here. And another word we will see is the last one, which is ektvam anupashyataha. A similar thing, we had anupashyanti, and here we have anupashyataha. And if you remember these words, so ektavam is oneness. We discussed oneness in mantra 6, and anupashyatan, which is the vision given by scripture. So we can understand the essence of mantra 6 and mantra 7, very similar. Very, very, very similar. And then we will go further and we will see how Prabhupada ji has explained it through his purpose. तो जिस तरीके से हमने मंत्र 6 देखा, उसी तरीके से मंत्र 7 को हम देख सकते हैं। और संस्कृत वर्ड्स को अगर हम देखें यहाँ पे, तो यस्मिन् सर्वाणि भूतानि, हम मंत्रा 6 के अंदर हमारे पास वर्ड्स जो है वो सर्वाणि भूतानि है, और यहाँ पे भूतान्य है, तो ये सर्वाणी, which is sarva, everywhere, all, bhutani, the material. We can understand that sarvani is like all, bhutani. Bhutani is the root word of this, which means all the living beings. So yasmin is the events, the circumstances. Sarvani, all. Bhutani, living beings. So in all circumstances, all the living beings, when we see, so this, and now this is what we are doing, sandhi vichay, जो हम यहाँ करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, संस्कृत वर्ड्स को समझने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, और इसी के अंदर कुछ वर्ड्स लेकर शिला प्रभुपाद जी ने और डेप्थ में इसको एक्सप्लेन किया है. यहाँ पे अगर हम देखें तो ये वर्ड है आत्मा. आत्मा, the चित्त, the spiritual spark we have. In the next, if we see this, we can see the translation given by Srila Prabhupada ji. One who always sees, so Yasmani Sarvani, one who always sees all living entities as a spiritual spark. So that Atma is the spiritual spark, the soul. And we have discussed it before, that when Srila Prabhupada ji saw, and there's a great example of Bhakti Tirth Swamiji Maharaj, where Bhakti Tirth Swamiji Maharaj, he was activist, socialite activities in early 80s in America, where black metal lives had just started, and he had faced a lot of trouble there. And when he joined the movement, even then, even in Hare Krishna movement, he kind of faced the racism. And then he approached Srila Prabhupada ji and he said that I thought spiritually we all are one, but still my God brothers, they treat me different. And Srila Prabhupada ji said, you're right, we all are one. And you're also right that some of your God brothers, God sisters, they might treat you differently. But that's where you come into practice. That will you able to see all of them on the same platform? Can you see them? Can you see the spiritual spark in all of them? And then will you able to bring them to the state where they can see everyone? Because at the moment they can't. You're right, they should, but they can't. And then this is what Bhakti Tirth Swamiji Maharaj mentioned, that when I heard those words, I understood one thing, that at least Srila Prabhupada ji, he sees the spiritual spark in me. He doesn't see me as the black body. He sees the spiritual spark in me, which is the same in all. And rest is the history, that how fiercely Bhakti Tirth Swamiji Maharaj worked for the movement. And not only for the blacks, but for everyone. So that's how all the liberated. So in Mantra 6, we went into the discussion of Kanishta, Madhya, and Uttam Adhikari. And we saw Uttam Adhikari, they are the one who are always equiposed, right? They can see their spiritual spark. They don't see anyone as Russian, Ukrainian, Chinese, American, black, white, rich, poor. Sees everyone on that level where we can see their spiritual spark. Can we do that? Is it one of those things in the scriptures for others and not for us? Because the whole purpose of discussing these scriptures is that we can deploy these wisdoms in our day-to-day life. So when we can do it, so when we have the discussion with someone, then we don't. This is where cricket match, the hooligans, footballs, fans, when they fight with each other because somebody belongs to some different caste, different country, different club. If we consider everyone as a spiritual spark, then we can still enjoy all these sports, but certainly we will not able to fight, because we can't fight with our own self, can we? If we understand others as the extension of ourselves, because Krishna is in us and Krishna is in them, so we see Paramatma in everyone, then we will not able to fight with them. Why will we? And then sees all living entities as spiritual spark in quality one with, not in quantity with Lord, but in quality with Lord. Becomes a true knower of things. what then can be the illusion or anxiety for him? So we mentioned that in material life, in material body, we have material senses, and because of those material senses, we get into illusion. But when we have that spiritual knowledge, we will never fall into that illusion or anxiety, right? So illusion is what we can see or what we can perceive using our mental senses. But anxiety is that position or the condition of the mind where our senses are not deployed. We don't see anything, but we think, we imagine something. So that's anxiety is mental, but illusion is physical based on our physical senses. So this is why it is. So अगर हम हिंदी में इसे समझाने का प्रयास करें तो भगवान ने मंत्र 6 के अंदर जो कहा है, जिस कंसेप्ट को समझाने के लिए प्रभुपाद जी ने कनिष्ठ, मध्यम और उत्तम अधिकारी, जो 3 डिफरेंट लेवल होते हैं डिवोटीज के, उसको समझाया कि किस तरीके से कनिष्ठ अधिकारी जो होते हैं, भक्त जो होते हैं, जो अभी अभी मूवमेंट में जुड़े होते हैं, जो सिर्फ भगवान को भगवान की मूर्तियों में मंदिर में देखते हैं, वो भक्तों की जो एसोसिएशन है, जो संघ है, उसको अप्रिशिएट नहीं कर पाते। और यही डिफरेंस होता है उनमें और मध्यम अधिकारी में। मध्यम अधिकारी भगवान को मंदिर की मूर्ति में भी देख पाते हैं, लेकिन उसी के साथ में वो बाकी भक्तों को और भक्तों के संघ को बहुत इंपॉर्टेंस देते हैं। उन्हें ये पता लगता है कि भक्तों के अंदर वो स्पिरिचुअल स्पार्क है। लेकिन मध्यम से जब हम उत्तम की तरफ जाते हैं तो मध्यम अधिकारी, जो नियोफाइट, जो कनिष्ठ अधिकारी होते हैं, जब उनके साथ में डील करते हैं तो वो ये ध्यान रखते हैं कि ये नए हैं, अगर वो उनके साथ में कनिष्ठ अगर मध्यम के साथ में अच्छा सा व्यवहार नहीं करते तो मध्यम टॉलरेंट होते हैं, मध्यम उनकी कंडीशन समझते हैं, उनके ऊपर मर्सी करते हैं, और अगर कोई एथिस्ट मिल जाता है तो वो उनको इग्नोर करते हैं। लेकिन मध्यम से हम उत्तम अधिकारी की तरफ जाते हैं तो उत्तम अधिकारी वो है जो मर्सी भी रखते हैं, टॉलरेंट भी करते हैं, लेकिन वो एथिस्ट के साथ में डिस्कशन करके उनको भी भक्त बनाने की शक्ति रखते हैं। वो मध्यम, वो प्योर डिवोटी हैं भगवान के। जैसे नारद मुनि जब उंगली मार को मिले तो उंगली मार एक एथिस्ट था, तो मध्यम अधिकारी अगर उंगली मार के साथ में आ जाएगा तो बहुत मुश्किल रहेगी, लेकिन उत्तम अधिकारी अगर नारद मुनि उनके साथ में होंगे तो हरि बोल, तो फिर सॉल्यूशन ऐसा ही होगा, जो आउटकम होगा वो वैसा ही होगा जैसे निकला। ऐसे ही और रत्नाकर हैं, तुलसीदास जी जो बने, उनकी हमारे पास में हिस्ट्री है। तो यहाँ पे अगर हम इस वर्ष से कुछ समझना चाहें तो भगवान ईश्वर श्री ईशोपनिषद में इस मंत्र के साथ में यही बता रहे हैं कि कनिष्ठ मध्यम से हमें उत्तम अधिकारी की तरफ जाना है। और उत्तम अधिकारी वो है जो इक्विपोज है, जो भगवद गीता के अंदर वर्ड यूज किया है, स्थित प्रज्ञ है, जो हाथी को, कुत्ते को, ब्राह्मण को, चंडाल को एक दृष्टि से देखता है। और यहाँ पे जो ये समझता है कि हम सब समान हैं और भगवान की ही तरह हैं, लेकिन क्वालिटी में, क्वांटिटी में नहीं। और इसको हम और परफेक्ट में आगे समझेंगे। So when we get further, this is coming from Chaitanya Charan Prabhuji. Chaitanya Charan Prabhuji explained this very nicely. So if we have Shri Īśopaniṣad book with us, then these in brackets, they are the paragraphs number. Paragraph 1, 2, 2 to 3, 4, and 5, 6. So 6 paragraphs Srila Prabhupada provided to explain mantra 6 in the purpose. And Chaitanya Charan Prabhuji has very nicely dissected. And on his website, bhakticourses.com, we can see all these presentations. They are also available in YouTube. So when I did my Bhakti Shastri, so as I said initially, when we do Bhakti Shastri course, in Bhakti Shastri course, we do 4 books. And that's what we are trying to follow at the moment. We did Bhagavad Gita, that's completed. We have moved on to the second, which is Shri Īśopaniṣad. And then, Krishna willing, we will move on to 2 other scriptures written by Raghunath Goswami ji. So nectar of devotion and nectar of instruction. तो हमने जिस तरीके से पहले बात करी कि भक्ति शास्त्री जो कोर्स होता है उसके अंदर हम 4 बुक्स को, 4 ग्रंथ को कवर करते हैं, जिसमें से भगवत गीता जो हम ऑलरेडी कवर कर चुके हैं। उसके बाद हमने श्री ईशोपनिषद शुरू करी और हम डिटेल के अंदर हर एक वर्स को कर रहे हैं। इसके बाद अगर भगवान ने चाहा तो हम रूप गोस्वामी जी द्वारा कृतित नेक्टर ऑफ डिवोशन, भक्ति रसामृत सिंधु, जिसको हम संस्कृत में नाम है भक्ति रसामृत सिंधु, नेक्टर ऑफ डिवोशन, और नेक्टर ऑफ इंस्ट्रक्शन उपदेशामित्र, ये 2 ग्रंथों को भी हम करेंगे। और उसके अंदर और जो हमने अभी तक करा है, रूप गोस्वामी जी ने उसको डिटेल के अंदर समझाया है। और स्पेशली नेक्टर ऑफ इंस्ट्रक्शन, उपदेशामृत में वो उपदेश दिए हैं जो एक भक्त को अपने जीवन में करने चाहिए। अगर कोई कहे कि हम उस विजन तक कैसे पहुंचे, तो हम एक ही दिन में उस विजन तक नहीं पहुंच पाएंगे, लेकिन हम अपनी रिचुअल प्रैक्टिसेस इस तरीके से रखें तो हमें क्या क्या करना चाहिए, क्या उपदेश हमारे हैं, वो बहुत प्यारे उपदेश हैं। और अगर हम उन उपदेशों को फॉलो करें तो हमारे सिर्फ आध्यात्मिक ही नहीं, भौतिक जीवन भी बहुत अच्छे से सफल रहेगा, क्योंकि उसके अंदर खाने पीने के बारे में भी बहुत अच्छे से बताया गया है कि हमें अपने शरीर कैसे मेंटेन रखना चाहिए। जैसे भगवत गीता चैप्टर 17, चैप्टर 18 में भी बताया है कि खाने भी 3 प्रकार के होते हैं, जैसे कि सात्विक, राजसिक और तामसिक। तो इसी तरीके से भगवान ने उसमें कहा है, और बहुत बहुत अच्छे अच्छे उसके अंदर वर्सेस हैं, हम उसको कवर करने की कोशिश करेंगे। और जो यहाँ पर है उसी चीज का और एक्सपेंशन हमें वहां पे मिलेगा। बट मंत्र 7, oneness between energy and energetic, an example of fire has been given in paragraph 1. So we will see this, but we have seen this example before. The fire is there, and from the fire the heat is coming, the light is coming, and the sound could also come. So heat, light and sound could come from the source, which is the fire. Right? We can understand all the light in the room is because of that one fire. So the source is same, right? So nobody will be able to say that what's the difference between the light on the left hand side to the light on the right hand side, light up, light down. And on this, I would like to discuss a story, a very nice story we have. In this story, this is actually not in, I'm trying to recollect where I read it, because it's not here in the purpose. Srila Prabhupada hasn't provided here, but I don't remember the source. But hopefully we will be able to see that why this is a good time to discuss it. So there was a king who was getting old. He had 3 sons, and at one point he decided that now he will not be able to carry forward. Now is the time to hand over his kingdom to one of his sons. So he had 3 sons, but he could not decide which son is wise and capable enough. So he had a Siksha Guru. He had a guru who always he used to go to advice for, like a sage. So he went to the king, went to the sage and said, could you help me with to figure out which one is best out of these 3? And the sage, full of wisdom, said, how about this? You give all of them 1,000 pounds. So we are in London, so let's take the currency as pound. So 1,000 pounds, give 1,000 pounds to each of them, and each of them being princes, they have their own palace. So ask them that buy something within this 1,000 pounds and fill the whole palace of yours, and we will come back 3 days later. So the king invited all of them and gave 1,000 pounds to each of his sons and said, I will come back to your palace, visit you in 3 days with my Siksha Guru, with the sage, and you need to buy something within 1,000 pounds to cover up your whole palace somehow. Now the first son thought, 1,000 pounds, that's not enough for the palace. What could I buy? What is the cheapest thing in the market? which I could buy. And he couldn't think of much. Then he thought, hey, hang on. Why the cheapest? Why don't I go for something which is free, which nobody values, which is litter? We pay to the council to collect our litter. And the litter we have, the garbage we have, the waste we have is free of cost. We give somebody to take it. So there is no value in it. And he said, well, the whole idea is to fill the palace with something like this. So he went to the place where he could find all the garbage. The only expense was to carry that garbage in the transport from one place to his palace, which he did. He filled the whole palace with the garbage. Of course, it started smelling. And by the end of the day, he went to the king and he said, I filled it, I've done it, but I can't bear it. Please, rather than after 3 days, come back tomorrow morning and have a look so I can clear my palace. And the king said, I will come on the morning of 3rd day, bear with it. The son went back. This is the first son. The second son thought the same. Oh, what can I fill with? What is the cheapest thing? But then he heard what his brother had done. He said, I don't want to fill my palace with the garbage. That's not the nice thing to do. How about this? If I will buy flowers, doesn't really matter if I can fill my whole palace with the flowers, but at least the flowers are better than garbage. And he did it. And the whole palace was scented. Oh, beautiful, nice, flowery, fragrance everywhere. That was the first day. And then he thought, I just need to wait until the end of the 3rd day when my father will come with the sage. And the 3rd prince didn't do it at all. Nobody could see what he has filled with because he didn't. And everybody was getting worried that, oh, the 3rd son, he's going to lose because he hasn't filled with anything. Now the 3rd day came, the king and the sage visited the first. And the sage said to the king that this son of yours is good in maths. He's good technically. He has fulfilled the bet. You asked to fill the palace. He has filled the palace. But he doesn't have a sense. He doesn't have the value of things. He's not fit. He will know that he needs to have the ministers to advise him, but he will not know to whom to appoint for the ministry. So he's not capable of the king. And then went to the second one. Now the second one was full of flowers, but the flowers by the end, because the flowers were carried on 1st day, the flowers were gone stale on the 3rd day. The fragrance was gone. So the sage said, okay, he didn't put the garbage there, but he put the flowers, but he did not fulfill the condition because he could not fill with 1,000 pounds the whole palace with the flowers. And the flowers have gone down as well. So he does not have the vision for the future. So he could not be a capable king for long. He might be able to make the good decision which will please everyone now, but certainly he doesn't have the long-term vision. And then they started moving towards the 3rd. And the 3rd prince heard that, oh, they are coming, my father and the sage coming. And the father was thinking, oh my goodness me. First one filled the palace with the garbage, the second one with the flowers, but they were stale by the time we reached there. The 3rd one hasn't done anything. But by the time they reached there, and the king was looking around, king could not see. King said to the son, didn't you understand? I asked you to fill your palace with something. And the sage said, hey, king, you didn't see that. He has fulfilled your condition. And the king got surprised. What? I don't get it. What it is? I can't see. And the sage said, you can see. What the 3rd prince did, he put the diyas all over the place. In 1,000 pounds, he could buy enough diyas, enough light, that all the diyas, the whole palace was lit by energy, by the light energy. And not only that, the palace, because there were so many of them, the light was going out. The garden, the root outside was lit as well. And no one could say, if you see two diyas next to each other, the light merge with each other, right? And then the oneness comes. And no one would know which light belongs to which diya. And that's what the third one did. He just put all the lights around, and all the diyas around, and the light of all the diyas, they came together and they gave the impact of oneness. This is not the merging which the Advaitian mentioned, but this is the oneness in quality. The diyas are still separate as quantity, but the energy has been merged together. And this is what Mantra 7 purpose, Srila Prabhupada ji explained, oneness between energy and energetic. So the fire and the source of the fire, the energy, the heat and light, they are coming from the fire. And if you understand, all that heat and energy spread in the room is from that fire, from that source. And this is the oneness they're talking about, right? If you get it further, the oneness is in the quality, not in the quantity. And the great example, which we have discussed a number of times before, the drop and the ocean. So the ocean is there. And if we take just a drop out of it, from the drop, we can see the chemical composition. The chemical composition of the drop will let us know the chemical composition of the ocean, that how much the salt is available, what other chemicals are there in the ocean. That one drop will do. Something similar it does for our own body. When we go for the blood test, we only need a little bit of blood to figure out what else is going on in our body. So this is the quality, not the quantity. So the quantity of Krishna is much, much bigger, but the quality is Satyachit Ananda, and we are Satyachit Ananda. And this is, well, the spirit is Satyachit Ananda. We might not feel it at the moment because we live on the material platform, on the bodily platform. But if you see that this is the oneness. But remember, this is for Uttam Adhikari, not for us. This is somebody who lives on pure consciousness level. And then what's the benefit? Now, if you remember, Mantra 2 said it. If we live in Īśopaniṣad principle, if we live with these principles explained in Shri Īśopaniṣad, then it will bring us harmony. The oneness and interest brings enjoyment. The family, the nation, and we all know, right? So the cricket fans will sit together and they have the same goal, that the India should win or the England should win. The final is happening, England versus another team. And of course, we would like to have England winning because we live in England, right? And then everybody would enjoy. The family will have one goal. Similarly, the nation will have one goal. Yesterday only we celebrated Remembrance Day, and we thought about all those sport. On one side, they had one common goal. And that's how the oneness, we can understand, if all of us can live in that Krishna consciousness, how beautiful the life could be. And that's the reason when devotees are in association with other devotees, they are always harmonious. Why? Because that oneness is there. All the devotees. And I've been lucky enough to be traveling around, and wherever I went, wherever I met devotees, I felt like they were the family members, because we all had the same goal, to do devotional service for Krishna Prema, right? And if we are not there, if we have separate interests, then that will cause shoka and moha, right? That's what happens. We will have the attachment. Now, this is what we see in the corporate world. Two people working in the same team, and they both are looking for the promotion. One will get, the other one who will not get will have shoka. The one who will get will have moha, attachment and dejectment. So this is Mantra 3 explanation. If we will not live in Īśopaniṣad principle, if we will not serve Krishna, then we will have disharmony. And then become one in interest with God. Not become one with God, but in interest with God. So in summary, this is how Mantra 7 has been explained. Now, going forward, one of the words, so Iktvam, this is the Sanskrit word. If we go back and if we see the words here, this is what we said, Iktvam. This is what the one is. That one. Right? And the complete realization of that oneness has been emphasized so much in the purport. तो इस तरीके से हम समझ सकते हैं सभी हिंदी भाषी भक्तों के लिए कि जिस तरीके से हमने देखा, और हमने एक स्टोरी भी डिस्कस करी, अगर हम उसे हिंदी में डिस्कस करना चाहें, कि किस तरीके से एक राजा के 3 प्रिंस हैं, 3 सन हैं, और वो चाहता है कि वो तीनों में से कोई एक अगर राजा बने, तो उसको मालूम नहीं कि तीनों में से किसको राजा बनाना चाहिए। तो वो अपने शिक्षा गुरु से पूछते हैं, जो कि एक साधु हैं, साधु से पूछते हैं। तो वो उनको बताते हैं कि तीनों को कहो 1000 पाउंड के अंदर अपने महल को भर दें। तो जो पहले हैं वो कूड़ा करकट जो होता है उसको लेकर आते हैं, क्योंकि 1000 में वही ला सकते हैं इतनी क्वांटिटी में जिससे घर को भर दें। लेकिन जब साधु आते हैं तो साधु ये कहते हैं कि इनको मालूम ही नहीं चीजों की वैल्यू क्या है। इन्होंने आपकी शर्त तो, कंडीशन तो पूरी कर दी, लेकिन इनको वैल्यू नहीं मालूम चीजों की, किस चीज से भरना चाहिए। ये मिनिस्टर तो ले लेंगे कि इनको मालूम है कि मिनिस्टर होने चाहिए, किस चीज के मिनिस्टर है, कुछ चीज के मिनिस्टर, पर किसको किस मिनिस्ट्री लेवल पे लगाना है, इनको इस चीज के बारे में नहीं पता। तो ये नहीं बन सकते। सेकंड के घर गए तो 3 दिन के बाद साधुओं को आना था, राजा को और साधु को। तो उन्होंने पहले दिन घर को फूलों से भर लिया था, तो तीसरे दिन तक वो फूल मुरझा गए थे। तो उन्होंने कहा इनको ये तो मालूम है कि किस चीज से भरना है, लेकिन ये इनके पास दूरदृष्टि नहीं है कि 3 दिन तक ये फूल नहीं चलेंगे। तो ये कोई अच्छे डिसीजंस अभी ले सकते हैं, लेकिन लॉन्ग टर्म का विजन इनके पास में नहीं है। जब वो तीसरे के पास में गए तो उन्होंने देखा तीसरे ने घर में दिए जलाए हैं, और वो दिए से रोशनी निकली है, और उस रोशनी से पूरा महल भर गया है। और वो रोशनी सिर्फ महल में ही नहीं रही है, महल के बाहर भी जा रही है। तब वो ये समझ सके कि ये है जो ये समझ सका कि किस चीज से भरना चाहिए, और वो रोशनी अब दियों की नहीं रह गई। अब वो रोशनी जिसके पास भी जाएगी उसकी लाइफ को उजागर करेगी। तो इस तरीके से वननेस, एकत्वम जो संस्कृत में वर्ड है, उसको समझाने की यहाँ पे कोशिश करी है। Realizing our oneness in quality with absolute truth brings detachment. So if we will able to understand that we are in one with quality, that we will not get attached to things. We will not get attached to things. Why? What's the need to get attached? Why do we need to get attached to something if that thing is there for us and for everyone? Do we get attached to sun? No. We know the sun is there for everyone. Well, whenever it decides to come out. But no one will say, oh, this is my sun. No, the sun is there for everyone, and sun will exhibit the quality of oneness. तो जिस तरीके से हम देख सकते हैं कि जब सूर्य आता है तो वो सभी के लिए आता है, और वो सभी के लिए, कोई भी सूर्य के लिए लड़ाई नहीं करेगा। इसी तरीके से जब हम सभी के अंदर सभी को देखें, सभी को भगवान की एक ज्योति के रूप में देखें, सभी को भगवान की एनर्जी के रूप में देखें, जिस तरीके से बताया गया, और हम ये बाद में फिर डिस्कस करेंगे कि भगवान की 3 एनर्जी होती हैं, इंटरनल, एक्सटर्नल, एक मार्जिनल। तो हम भगवान की मार्जिनल तटस्थ शक्ति में आते हैं, जिसको हम कहते हैं कि जो इंटरनल है वो भगवान की स्पिरिचुअल शक्ति है, जो एक्सटर्नल है वो भगवान की मटेरियल भौतिक है, जिससे भौतिक संसार बना है, और हम तटस्थ हैं। ये हमारे ऊपर है कि हम स्पिरिचुअल होना चाहें कि भौतिक होना चाहें। तो अगर हम भगवान की क्वालिटीज के साथ में एक होना चाहें तो हम हो सकते हैं, पर हमको उस रियलाइजेशन की जरूरत है। भगवान एंड हिज शक्तिज, so the energy and energetic, so all the energies are coming from someone. The source got to be there, and we have seen the fire, the heat and energy, they are coming from the fire. Bhagwan is there, and Bhagwan energies are there. The sun is there and the sun radiations are there, right? And this is okay, just maybe the last thing for today. Another explanation has been given, the analogy has been given, that imagine the sun, but we can't reach to the sun, not even in the night time. So two friends, one friend said, oh, I would like to go to sun. Everybody going to the planet, Mars and moon. I would like to go to sun. And somebody said, what are you doing? The other friend said, what are you saying? Sun is so bright. He said, hey, that's why I've planned to go to sun in the night time. Right? Is that true? Can we do that? No, we can't. So, but let's imagine. So sun god is there, which is equivalent to Krishna. So the source is there. From the sun, we get the, if we are around the sun, so like around the Jupiter, we can see the disk. Similarly, around the sun, there is also a disk. Not as similar as the Jupiter disk, but the rays of the suns are there. It's much dense there, next to the sun, just around the sun. We can't see that, but it has been proven that the sun has the rays around it. The disk is there for the rays. The spherical disk is there, the surrounding. And then, of course, we see the sunlight, and the sunlight gets reflection. Now, the three different energies of Krishna I mentioned. The first one is Krishna himself. That's called Swarup Shakti. Swarup, Krishna himself. The fierce radiance around its orbit, right? The Swarup Shakti, that's the first one. Then the Tataksh Shakti, which is the rays around it, which is also internal, which is also external, because it's that near to Swarup Shakti. Tataksha. So we humans, living entity, we fall into Tataksha Shakti, the marginal energy. And then we have Bahiranga, called external. Bahir, Bahar, external energy. So this is external energy. And this one is marginal energy, Tataksha. This is what we are. And Swarup Shakti is actually internal, through which the whole Goloka Dham, the spiritual world is. So this is the spiritual, and this external is actually material world. And this is us. We were in a spiritual world, but currently we are in material world, and we need to go back to spiritual world again. So we can go and we can get spiritual, and we can go, we can get material. So it's up to us. We are living in external world, but we were there in internal world. Where we are, we have the choice, and we make the choice. This is our condition. तो हम इस एनालॉजी से, इस एग्जाम्पल से समझ सकते हैं कि जिस तरीके से एक सन, सूरज है, सूरज के साथ में बिल्कुल पास में एक स्फेरिकल अगर हम देखें तो जैसे ऑरा बना होता है, वैसे रेज है, और फिर जो सूरज की रोशनी हम तक पहुंचती है वो है। तो ये जो तीन स्टेट्स के अंदर हम सूरज को समझ सकते हैं, वैसे ही कृष्णा है। कृष्णा से हम निकले हैं, हम कृष्णा के बहुत पास हैं, क्योंकि क्वालिटेटिवली हम कृष्णा की ही तरह हैं। कृष्णा सत्यचित आनंद है, हम भी सत्यचित आनंद हैं, पर क्वांटिटी जो हमारी सत्यचित आनंद की है वो कृष्णा की 100% है। कृष्णा 100% सत्यचित आनंद है, हम 1% भी नहीं हो पाते हैं। कभी कभी हम भक्तों के साथ में होते हैं, कीर्तन कर रहे होते हैं, तो हमको सत्यचित की अनुभूति थोड़ी सी होती है, लेकिन वो क्वांटिटी सत्यचित आनंद की बहुत कम है, लेकिन वो क्वालिटीज हमारे अंदर हैं जो भगवान के अंदर है। भगवान की तीन एनर्जी होती हैं, एक जिससे खुद भगवान और भगवान से आगे स्वरूप शक्ति, और इसके अंदर हम आगे भी स्वरूप शक्ति के भी आगे डिफरेंट पार्ट्स हैं जो हमने जैसे देखी हैं, राधा जी जो हल्दायिनी शक्ति हम माने जाते हैं। फिर बीच में ततक्ष शक्ति, ये ततक्ष शक्ति जिसे हम इंग्लिश में मार्जिनल शक्ति कहते हैं, इससे हम बने हैं। हम भगवान की ततक्ष शक्ति हैं, जो कि आध्यात्मिक भी हो सकती है और भौतिक भी हो सकती है। और फिर बहिरंगा शक्ति है जिससे भगवान ने पूरा ये भौतिक संसार बनाया है, और ये भौतिक संसार मटेरियल वर्ल्ड जो है भगवान की एक्सटर्नल एनर्जी से बना है। तो इंटरनल एनर्जी से भगवान का स्पिरिचुअल वर्ल्ड, एक्सटर्नल एनर्जी से मटेरियल वर्ल्ड, और फिर हम बीच में तटस्थ शक्ति मार्जिनल एनर्जी जो स्पिरिचुअल वर्ल्ड में भी जा सकते हैं और मटेरियल वर्ल्ड में भी रह सकते हैं। तो इंटरनल एनर्जी से भगवान ने स्पिरिचुअल वर्ल्ड बनाया, एक्सटर्नल एनर्जी से भगवान ने मटेरियल वर्ल्ड बनाया, और हमको बीच में रखा। हम स्पिरिचुअल भी हो सकते हैं, मटेरियल भी हो सकते हैं। हमको तटस्थ शक्ति मार्जिनल शक्ति कहा जाता है। तो इस तरीके से हम समझ सकते हैं। हमने अब तक जो डिस्कस किया उसके अंदर कोई प्रश्न हो, किसी और की कोई रियलाइजेशन हो, कोई कुछ शेयर करना चाहे तो प्लीज यहाँ जूम के अंदर, या अगर कोई यूट्यूब के ऊपर है वहां पर, अगर अभी, वरना नेक्स्ट वीक हम मंत्रा 7 को ही आगे देखेंगे कि किस तरीके से और अच्छे से एक्सप्लेन किया है। हरे कृष्ण। अजय जी प्लीज।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी। Question is our soul is a kind of light energy?
Yes. You could say that way, because so when we say we are all human beings. So if you see, if Krishna is fire, we all are light. If that's how you're asking, this could be one of the understanding.
Yeah, because our body is material, but
yes,
as mentioned here, we are talking about the energy which is coming. You said like the energy is a light which is coming from Krishna. So we think, means, do we assume that the soul is a kind of like light energy, and our body is like a material, like we said, like we have like a both combination. One is like a spiritual, which we can see as a light, and like material is like our body, which will be destroyed later.
Yes, perfect understanding. Very nicely put together, Ajay. Thank you so much. Yes, we can say that. And then that's the reason we can figure out that it's not only us, others are also light energy. And that's where the concept of oneness comes. When we all are one, we all are light energy of the same sun, of same Krishna. Yes.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Haribo. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. All right. Okay. So it's that time of the hour. We will finish it here, and then we will take it further from Chaitanya Charan Prabhuji and Radhesham Prabhuji, and we will summarize chapter 7 hopefully next time, and try to discuss more. You also ponder over, think, जो हमने अभी तक डिस्कस किया है उसको आप भी सोचें पूरे हफ्ते में, वीक में, किस तरीके से हम इस विजडम को एम्प्लॉय कर सकते हैं, और फिर हम इसके ऊपर और डिस्कस करेंगे नेक्स्ट वीक. So thank you so much for everyone's association. And with that, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gurudev Maharaj ki jai, jai jai Shri Radhesha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, New Prabhuji. Thank you so much for your presence. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for the wonderful address.
Hare Hare Bol. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Bol.